G'day, today we're continuing on with Railbound. So we're just going to jump over to, I guess, what is the last section current game, which is 8. Obviously still stuff left behind, but let's see how we do with this one. Alright, so I think this is our first trains that have 4 carriages in them. So let's think about how we want to get these connected, because this guy's got to really be last. So we go, if we do this, then one hits this point at 2 squares. So if we do that, then he's going to hit it at 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2's behind 3. Then all we got to do is that, and it's going to take him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to hit that point there. 7 to hit this one. 8 to hit that one. 1. We don't have anywhere near enough to get this guy on board in that time, I think. Let's see. Alright. New plan. So we might need to tighten up these guys at the back. So what if we got rid of all that and went straight across there? And that's not making this any cheaper, I don't think. Because then I've only got 3 for this guy. How are we getting this 4th guy on there? Basically, we need these guys to end up behind each other. Then we need him to just sort of take like longer than everyone else to get there. He can't hit that on that same point, so he has to go behind. But then, I mean, in theory, he could just hit sort of straight on to like that, and then this guy just needs to do that. How about that? There we go. Alright, so 1's easy. 1's straight cut. 2, we can just sort of get him to do a little loop. Come back. 3, same thing. Think if this guy's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So this guy just can't hit that on 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 3 is going to hit that at the right point as well. And then we've got 6. This guy to hit it right. So he goes that way, and then we run him out. He can do his own little loop. Does that work? Is 3 and 4 going to be okay? Yep. Lovely. All right. 22. So if we have 1 run straight down this way, and then we have a curl up that way, what's going to happen is 4's going to hit this, he's going to flip it the other way, and then 1's going to pass through it, setting it correct, or setting it back to the way it is, but 1 will get out. Still got 12, but let's... 2 hits. So 1's only going to be out at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, in theory, we could do that and get 2 out of here. We'd then have 3 come after him. Then all we need is 4 to that. 1 and 2, I don't know if they're gonna... Right, okay, so that... 1 and 2, 1 and 4, how can we get them to pass each other? Still have a fair few squares here, so if we... They're both going to turn What if we have 4 come back? Timing-wise, it doesn't feel like 4 is going to be far enough away from 3. Oh, no, because he should loop back out that way, I think. Yeah. So we need to use these 2 to make that slightly longer. 1 goes, 2 goes. This guy hits that marker, and I've run out of points. Alright, what if we do that there? Do that there. There we go. Getting nice and complex. She's got so many balls in the air. Okay, so 18 squares again. So let's straight route 1. 1 goes straight through. So at the point so only one person has to cross over this button to allow that up, and then we're set. 1 goes up. This flips this way. What we want to see then is 2 go in. 2 hits that and goes through. Problem would be that 3 would then have to sort of pass through here. Wrong there anyway. So I think what we need then is that I think I've overcomplicated that one. Because basically what we want there is that we want 3 to end up on the opposite side of 2. But someone has to push this before 1's going to get out of there. I mean, 1's barely going to beat 2 at that rate. Let's think about this. We want 1 through that way, then we want 3 to sort of come up behind that. But we're going to need 2 to have to... Like, 2 would have to either go across it and come back, or 3 is going to have to do that. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So at that rate, 1 and 2 are correctly distanced from each other. At this point, we'd need him to come back, and then we would need this guy to be like that. This is wrong, and I mean 4's now in front of 2 at that rate, so that's wrong as well. That's wrong because he's going to hit this at the wrong route. Get him to go around the circle, but then this guy still needs to be behind this guy. I think they're going to collide at that, right? No, okay, so keep pressing spacebar to pause. There we go. I mean, we might say that's a fluke. Maybe. Okay, 1 hits that and is home free. 2 needs to get all the way over here. 4 needs to get all the way over there. Let's map out 4's path first, because it's the longest. So basically everyone else would, in theory, have to be doing... 2. So that's 4's way out. That would mean as well that 4 is running this path the whole time and no one else could use it. Doesn't seem right. 1 could do that and be out. 3 could do that and be behind him. 2 needs to get all the way over here before 3s are allowed to leave. So how could I make 3 wait for so long. Alright, so let's get rid of all of that. Let's assume that 4 is going to hit the end of this line and then have to turn around and come back. Problem would be that 2 then has to use the same line. So what if we got 4 to do that? Which would mean that 4 would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 would go... 1 can't do that because it'll hit that at the wrong angle. Alright, what if we did this? What if 1 went that way? We turn that and we flick that up like that. 1 goes... He's hitting that at the wrong angle. 1 goes through there at the wrong angle, so he just passes through, he does a loop, flicks that back the right way, and he gets out. 2 goes all the way down here, joins that, he eventually flicks that the right way, gets out. 3, we could possibly get into that same loop. Let's see what happens. This can't be right. So, I mean, 1 and 4 end up in the right spots there. 3 was the problem in that one. We've still got 4 extra spots to go. I don't see how that's going to make things any better, but... And if I put him on there, it means he's going to go against the grain of 2. We've dictated 2 and 4 are both heading this way. Let's play it without 3 in this. Let's just see what happens. So about... Alright, and he doesn't even hit that on the right angle. Why does he not hit that on the right angle? Because he's already passed through it, turning it the other way. Alright, so what if we say we did that? It would, though, this would mean that 4 would never get out over here. No. Oh boy, alright. Let's think this through. In theory, we want 1 just out of here. 1 just needs to be gone. Straight away. 3 needs to go through the same path 1 does, but needs to wait for 2 to do it. 2 has to at least get the distance of there to here, which means that the 3 has to be doing something that's going to gridlock it for a little while. He goes through there. He's going to flick it the other way. So we don't want... We can have 3 pass through that after him. If 3 passes through this after 1's gone through, he's going to head through it. 2 can then potentially pass through it after him, but we can't have 4 in the way 2. So 4 has to, I guess, do that loop twice? Even then, I don't think that they're going to be out of the way of 2. Let's just run the mess we've made there. 3's not going to go anywhere. Yeah. So let's go that. 1 gets out. 3 does another loop. 2's coming. So did 3 hit 2 just because 4 was there? How do we get 4 out of the way? This is the only thing, like, these 2 markers are really the only things that we can use as a timer to delay people without spending more railway, because it means that for any time that, say, like, we do this, he has to travel through that whole thing twice. We do that. He just won't ever get to his destination, I think is the problem there. What if we do that and then do this as well? Talk to me about what happens, because I assume that means that 3 will then go on that same journey. 2 will go out, and then 3 will do the loop again, and then send 4 through, I think. If that was working, I think. Let's see. They end up colliding. I got that the wrong way. What if it's that way? Oh, it sends everyone through the wrong way. Right. I don't like it when I get stuck on one of the ones that's actually like a progress map, because I can't do anything. I can't just jump to the next one to have a look. All right. One passes through. Let's not worry about 4 at this point. Can't see any way to shorten the route that 2 does, unless we make 2 come inside of this inside track. Okay. So let's talk about this inside track. There's no way... Alright, looking here now. What happens is 2 cuts down into this line. 3 is ahead of him. 1 goes out. 3 then comes around, skips that because it doesn't matter to him, and then hits this, flicks it back the other way. 2 is then behind him, and 2 hits, goes out, and then 3. So if I don't move 4 at all, in theory, we should see this correct. 3 collects it, 2 goes around, and then 3 just has to do 2 more full loops before he goes out. But I do get them in the right order. So we can get rid of that to just make this a little bit clearer. No one's connecting to that one piece. So the question then is, what can we do to get 4 to cooperate in this thing as well? I assume it would be... What would happen if we just did that with 4? I think it would make it the odd one so that it would flick that, so then when 3 goes through, 3 goes out, not 2. Which would mean that somehow we need 4 to be behind the 2 of them as it goes through. Which would mean that we would need this to be that marker. So what we could possibly do is go... We just don't want him going that wrong direction. So at the point that he goes out here, we need to get him to turn around. We can't do something like that, because then he's just going to go down that way immediately. Let's think. If he goes this way, there's no way to use this to... How do we get him to turn around? We basically need to try and get him to flip the path he's following. I can't sort of have him go this way and then turn, because... What if I just do that with him? Where does he go? Well, initially he'll just end up being the first one through, so that doesn't work. Again, this will be wrong, because he'll just collide with these guys as they come through. So I've still got 3 left at this point. I also have nothing connecting to 4, so he also, like... I can get him out into the world. Well, no, even if I get him out into the world, he still needs to be able to connect to his stuff. What if we don't use that? Oh, we have to use that because we need... we do that. It makes his life slightly longer. Close. Close. The problem is, though, that once he gets out there, he's not getting He's not recovering. Like, he's just going to end up back in that loop again. We move that to there. I mean, that's where it was before, wasn't it? That doesn't work because he's then just going to bail out first. What if we don't use that so much as we get this to go, him to go down that way? We did this. What happens to 4 then? I was gonna say this is going to be a huge timing thing because it's going to be partly to do with when he counters 1. But I don't think the timing ever works on that. That just puts me back where I was anyway. Yeah, it's the exact same problem I had when I had that exact layout moments ago. Alright, so how do we get 4 out? Where do we get 4? Get everything else. The question now is this look to what I've sort of got. Get rid of that. What is the intention of 4? If nothing else was there and this was the layout and I had to get 4 over here, how is he doing it? 1 is going through and hitting that. 2 is going through and hitting that. 3 then has to reset the whole thing again. Basically 4 just needs to be behind 3 so that it doesn't have to do that second loop through to correct it again. I mean, to me it feels like 4 actually does have to be working in the opposite direction to everyone else. I don't quite see how to get that to happen. What if we get 1 to just sort of run through 2 as well? All 3 of these guys go in that same one way. We'll ignore 4 again. 1 goes through, gets out. 3 corrects it. 2 goes. 3 spends all that time correcting it. Again, we build a little loop for 4. That no matter what, he's going to run into 3 at some point. Like, he's going to. It's not bad. What if we do this? He's going to loop back into that because he can't get out that way, so that doesn't work. What if we do? Oh, that won't work either. So he's not that far off at this point. He's only like 1 square off being sort of behind them, but he needs but 3's then going to do another full loop that he's going to be in the way for. I knew there was a way that I could get him to like flip out this way. But I mean, at this point it doesn't really work because he then just goes. I believe how much this one's got me. And just to confirm as well, I can't move on to 6. Maybe I'll just... Alright, let's have a look at some of the challenge levels at least, see if that gets me any better. 77 track tiles. That seems excessive because it feels like this is just going to be that, isn't it? That's an odd one. $75 track tiles. So you would do small loop. No, you can't cut through that way. 1 goes around the outside in there. 2 does a loop. Cuts back. 3 does a slightly bigger loop. 4 does... 4 goes on a real journey. This feels like someone forgot to cut down the amount of available squares on these. This is, again, we've got 70, so let's just go... 1 goes as direct as possible. 2 does the same little loop. So 2's going to get to here, this marker here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it's going to take him 11 to get there. So if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, then 3 can join him. And then all this guy needs to do is just be further behind 3. It definitely doesn't feel like it's right. Alright, 1. Most direct route. 2. Doesn't even have to be that far down. So if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think those 2 hit one after the other. Then means that this guy we can just run in there. And then this guy can run over there. This, yeah, it feels wrong. I shouldn't be able to just sort of go like, oh, look at all those interesting pieces you've laid down for me. Allow me to just skip past them. I feel like I'm going to be stuck on this thing for so long that I'm not going to get the luxury of knocking over the 5A and B with that same carefree attitude. And we're very quickly right back here. Where 1's sitting means that you can pass straight through 1. Let's get rid of everything. If we say did this, and then did that, this guy would hit that and then sort of go a long way around. Doesn't matter. What happens there? Think. What if he went up? What does that change? Sort of. Okay. I mean, it allowed 1 to get out. In this current layout, 4 would have to cut. 4 would potentially be the next one allowed through, which is fine because then it means that 4 is sort of getting out. It just means 2 needs to be sped up or delayed somehow. There's no real way that I can stop 4 from passing through 2 because I need 4 to be able to use that route in a moment. But I could do that. That gives me 1 extra square. With that extra square, we do nothing. That the same result. We do this, but we send him in the loop. Those two collide. We do anything with this 1 square to slow 2 down. Like 1 square of slowing him down could also do it. Well, he's the only person that's going to use that. No, that doesn't work because then he loses his thing. That doesn't work because then 3 and 2, 1 are going to collide. I think that works. Bum, 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 bum. Exact same thing I had before. Extending anything here only extends 3, it doesn't extend 2. Can't see it. It's that stop for this guy, that otherwise he would be in there smooth. Just like he's got to be reduced 1 square. I mean, this isn't any more efficient. It's the same amount of squares he has to pass. If he turned into that, it would change his speed, but what it would also do is it would send 3 the wrong way. And that doesn't work. Let's put 2 and puts 3 in a continuous circle. Sends 2 around the weird wrong way. No, I think I got to concede on that one. Alright, well that's as far through this one as I could get. I mean, very questionable that I did really succeed those 4s that were intended to be done. Really stumped on that one. Alright. If you know what I'm doing wrong there, definitely feel free to mention it. And I will be back to do the others, but obviously I've got to wait for these ones to come out, because then I can sort of work on suggestions that come through. Until next time, catch you later.